Lesson 2: Timeline User Interface. In this video, we will talk about controlling and organizing the animation timeline. If a variety of different animations is applied to both paths and cameras, then all the different animation nodes are visible, with a default name of the part or camera plus the animation type. All these nodes can be adjusted in real time by scaling or shifting them on the timeline. You can toggle animation on and off using the checkbox associated with each animation. You can also set the FPS settings to 25 per second frame or 24 per second frame, and max samples that will be calculated in the animation will be decided according to this box. Playback controls are on the top left side of the timeline window. We can use these to jump at the beginning or at the end of each animation, scrub through the animation one frame at a time, or play a preview in the real time window. You can play or pause the animation video by pressing the shift key and the space bar at the same time. We can enable or disable looping by pressing the loop button in controller timeline settings using the gear icon. This is where we can choose our frames per second, and if the list doesn't have a value, this is where we can choose the frame timeline settings. This is where we can choose our frames per second, and if the list doesn't have a value you're looking for, then you can enter a custom value manually. You can adjust your quality settings for your preview render by increasing the seconds or max samples for each frame. The animation wizard is a quick way of adding in part, model, or camera animation with a step-by-step interface. The zoom slider on the top right controls the scale of the timeline, and we can adjust this as needed to see detail within the timeline, or we can reduce it to increase timeline without showing the minute details of the video. The flag control the working area. We can use them to define the playback area for our animation. We can isolate a specific area, and when we hit play, this area of our timeline will be played back in a real-time view. We can also scrub through our animation by dragging in the area above our animation nodes. This is a quick way of seeing the animation progress, and the preview line shows us where we are in the timeline. Once we start to create more complex animations, keeping the timeline organized will be key to controlling all the individual elements. We can drag individual animation nodes to help group them. For example, you can drag all the camera animations together in a particular scene for easy access. You can also add animation nodes into the folder. You can give that folder a specific name, and then all the nodes will be contained in a single directory. You can now move or scale the entire directory, and its contents will be scaled proportionately. Condensing the folder also helps free up some space on the timeline. Now, instead of mirroring individual part animation, you can select the folder, right click, and select mirror. Now you will have a folder with all mirrored part animations parts in it, which you can then rename specifically. Thank you.